everyone. I'm going to go ahead and start our Unit 7 and launching our new unit. And Unit 7 is about the past, the present, and future. And we're going to be thinking about why is the past important? I want you to look at the picture of these three cars. So these are pretty important. If you look at the one all the way on the left, the one that is blue right here, this one is an older car. This is a car of our past. This car right here is a car in our present. A lot of us do have cars that look similar to this. And then this one, maybe a car of the future. Very differently designed. So why is the past important? I want us to think about those cars. Do we build absolutely new cars every single time, or do we build on things from the past? Do we use those designs for older cars to help us build newer cars and just make them better? So that's something we can think about. All right, let's go on to our video time. So past, present, and future. Past, present, and future. And our essential question this unit is, why is the past important? So that's what we're going to focus on. Why is the past important? So here are some technologies, and our question is, what are some technologies that have changed over time? So if we look at this one has telephones and versions of telephones for communication. So here's a telephone of the past, one of those first types of telephones. When somebody would call you, these would go ding, 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 ding. And here's one in our present, so right now, smartphone. And then what's I think is even funny in this one is that they're putting one of the future as a watch phone. And guess what? We already have those. So that's how fast our technology is working for us. All right, let's watch our video about why is the past important. All right, here we go. All right, so there's our unit opener. Why is the past important? Boy, I saw someone there digging up what looked like maybe dinosaur bones or where people lived in the past. Pretty cool. All right. So we have our read aloud now, and our read aloud is called Pieces of the Past. So let's look at this picture here. Here's a little container. It looks like it's metal, and it says Our Family Time Capsule. Oh, a time capsule. Wonder if you guys know what that is. I don't know, this looks like a little keychain or keepsake. Maybe a little toy car. Oh, this looks like a picture of a family. This one says Daily News. That must be a newspaper. A little stuffed animal and a little toy giraffe. So I'm going to read the read aloud and you watch the picture, thinking about what do you think pieces of the past means as I read. Pretend you're writing a letter to people in the future. These are people who lived a long time in the future. Years and years. What kinds of things would you want to tell them? Will you tell them about the food you eat or the books you read? Maybe you will tell them about the music you like to listen to or the clothes you wear. Or you could give these things to people in the future. How can you do this? By making a time capsule. A time capsule is a special container. To make a time capsule, people choose things that show what life is like for them. They put these things in a container. The container could be an empty coffee tin or it could be a plastic or metal box. The box is locked up tight. Then it's put away in a safe place. Sometimes it's buried underground. After some time has passed, the box can be opened. Time capsules can hold many different things. In 1938, people in New York created a time capsule. People put many things inside it. There was a toothbrush, a baseball, toy blocks, seeds, a dictionary, and photographs. There was also a letter to the people who will open the time capsule in the future. Then the time capsule was buried deep underground. It will stay buried for 5,000 years. Can you imagine who will find it? Sometimes people forget about their time capsules. In 1914, some people made a time capsule. They wanted to stay closed for 60 years. They wanted it to be opened in 1974. But the time capsule was lost. No one knew where it was. It could not be found, so it could not be opened. Finally, the time capsule was found. It was opened in 2014. That's 100 years, guys. There were many interesting papers inside it. They told what life was like in 1914. The people who opened it wanted to put more things in it, and they wanted to close it again. Some children picked things to put in the time capsule. They wanted to show things from life today. They put in earphones and books. They put in a subway pass and even paper coffee cups. This time capsule will be opened again in 100 years. Now all the time capsules have to be buried underground. Oh, not all time capsules have to be buried underground. You do not even have to wait a long time to open them. You can make your own time capsule. Here is how. Find a box or other container. Make sure it will last for a while. Write your name and the date on it. Then write when you want it to be opened. You can even decorate it. Find a place to keep your time capsule. Make sure the place is dry so the time capsule will not get wet. Make sure your time capsule will fit in the space. Choose some things to show who you are. They can be anything you want. Just make sure they will fit inside your time capsule. You might choose toys or a favorite book. You can add photos. You can even add a recipe for one of your favorite books or favorite foods. Write a letter. Address it to whoever will find your time capsule. You could write the letter to a stranger, or you could write the letter to yourself. Tell who you are. Tell what you like to do. Maybe even the things you think might happen in the future. Who knows? You might be right. Wow, that sounds like a fun activity to do. We have some time on our hands. You might think about maybe doing that with your family. I've heard of time capsules. We even did one when I was in school. I don't even know what happened to it. That would be a fun activity to be able to make a time capsule with your family and open it up in 10 or 20 years. All right, let's go on. All right, here's our new vocabulary and some of our words. We have the word communicate. You can see there are two faces here talking to each other. So communicate usually means talking, but it's not the only way. We learned that in technology unit. So we know that you can, message people, write to people, all different kinds of ways to communicate. One of our next words is the word finish. Well, finish means to complete something. Oh, we have complete and finish. So here's the finish line, and here's the word complete. So to complete does mean the same thing as finish. To complete something, to finish something. Here's another word, improvements. So you can see we've got two guys here that are working on home improvements. That means make things better. Popular. And we see a picture here of everybody taking their picture together, like they're popular. I want to be around. That's what people like. What is popular? And here's another word, pond. Pond is very small. You can see the little fish in here. Ponds do not have moving water usually unless they have a little waterfall. They're usually decorative in gardens. Here's another word, wealthier. That means you have a lot of money. Rebuilt. That means to build again, because means again. So if something is rebuilt, that means it's built again. And here we have the word afraid. It looks like this little one is afraid in their bed. Maybe they think the monsters are going to come and get them at night. All right, let's go on. All right, so we have informational text here. Our story is called The First Cars. So I want you to try to make a prediction right now on what do you think the story is going to be about when it's titled The First Cars. Is this a car of today? Or is this a car of long ago? Look at those pictures. Is it a modern one of today? Or is it from long ago? And think about, how can you tell? How do you know? All right, let's go ahead and read our first story. The First Cars. Out on the road today, there are lots of cars. That was not always the case. The first car was made in 1769. But cars were not popular until the early 1900s. In 1908, Henry Ford began making a car called a Model T. Ford's workers made Model Ts until 1927. Unlike cars today, the Model T was slow and kind of plain, but the Model T did not cost much and it worked well. It changed the way people lived. All right, so how do you think these cars changed the way that people lived? Remember, before cars, people used horses, and horses hooked up to wagons. Trains weren't invented, but they couldn't take you just down, to the nearest store. So before then, people had to rely on horses or walking, and that was very, very slow. So imagine being able to jump into your car and go right into town. Let's look at some other things. Let's look at some ways that show us that we have ownership. So remember, we've talked about apostrophe S. So right here we have Ford's, and then we know that that's the maker. His name was Henry Ford. And it says Ford's workers. So that shows possession. Whose workers? Ford's workers. So there's the apostrophe again, and we see that a lot. And then, of course, the long AY sound, or the long A spelled with AY. So I saw the word way right here. Oh, look, do you see another one? I see the word today. Oh, there it is again. Today, AY at the end of a word. All right, our next story that we're going to begin with is called School Days. And on this, we're going to be really listening for those key details and being able to say those key details. Remember that key details are important details in the story. I'm going to start our next video with this story because I've taken up my time on this one, so I'm not going to be able to keep it going for much longer. So I'm going to begin the next one with School Days. And when we look at those pictures, we're going to really talk about the past. All right, we'll see you on the next video.